Today, hopefully, you can get out there. We're gonna talk about course management on things that you should actively try to think about and worry about depending on your skill level, and things that you probably don't need to worry about until you're getting down to, scoring low scores. That was very good. If I can just do that on the course today, beautiful. One of the mistakes that people will usually always make is off the tee. That's where most average golfers are making their double bogeys, is off the tee. You're not scoring off the tee, you never will, but problems will occur off the tee. And that's where most people lose the ball or they put themselves into a bad position. And the reason for that, and the reason why a lot of Redditors always speak about, hey, driving 300 yards is the best thing for your golf, it's not. If you can hit 300 yards down the middle every single time, do it. The reality is, we're not doing that. Most people are going to score better if they just keep it in play off the tee. So I'm gonna play two shots. I'm gonna play a 5-iron and I'm gonna play an aggressive driver. I'm gonna see which one puts me in a better position. Right down the right-hand side. Wow, that was really short into the wind. I did not hit that well. However, it doesn't matter because we're in the fairway. Let's hit a driver. Now I'm gonna hit a more aggressive driver. And this is where the average golfer kind of stumbles. And I know this because I just played with two golfers that have not broken 100, and this is what they were doing. Hopefully this goes right. I'm not gonna try to obviously hit it poorly. I'm gonna try to hit this right down the middle, but let's see. And it came back, thankfully. And the wind is really tough today. All right, well, that worked out well. Now, I hit this drive very well, and somehow it came back and I hit a nice draw. But can I do that every single time, right? Especially on some holes where it's not a driver hole, but I see people bring out the driver regardless. Off the tee, the main thing that you want to think about is, where can I lose this ball? I could have easily lost this ball left if I pulled it, and if I hit it into the other fairway, I have trees that I had to hit over, or I got to punch it back into my fairway. Or worst, I'm hitting into other golfers and, now I'm a problem. So you really want to think about, all right, course management off the tee is about, where can I lose the ball? Does my shot shape allow me for losing my ball? Most people are hitting a slice, so is out of bounds to the right, or is there a bunch of trees to the right? If there is, well, hitting the driver is probably not going to be it. Now I know it's fun to hit the driver, and it's fun to hit the driver really far, but the reality is you don't need to do that. I left that a little short. The reality is you don't need to do that. You need accuracy off the tee. You need to not lose the ball. How many times do you lose the ball off the tee versus how many times do you hit it around, 250 plus down the middle? I mean, I know the answer already. Most people are gonna lose it off the tee. The other thing is, this only kind of matters if you are looking to score well. If you don't care about scoring and you care about having fun, hit the driver all day. It doesn't really matter. But if you want to score well, either you need to work on your driver or you need to pick some clubs where you're not going to lose the ball off the tee, because my shot shape doesn't allow for it. So if it's wide open to the right and you slice to the right, hit to the right all day. No one cares. The other thing is, you need your short game to be in a place where it's good enough I can take advantage, oh, it's so short. I can take advantage of a good drive. How many times have you hit a good drive and you leave it short afterwards, or you flub the second shot? So to take advantage of the driver off the tee, you need your short game to be in a good place. How confident are you that you could take advantage of 100 yards and in, and actually either make par from there, and you don't even need to think about birdie, but really, how do I not make a bogey from there, from taking a good drive? So if I am, say, 50 yards out, how confident are you in being able, let's just say, get up and down from here? If you're not confident with getting up and down from here with your short game, or scoring from 100 yards in, getting off the tee is not going to take, you're not going to be able to take advantage of even a good drive anyway. It's not to say if you can hit driver, hit driver. But if you can take advantage of 100 yards and in, or even 150 yards and in, great. Otherwise, you need to be thinking about, how can I position myself in the best place possible off the tee to where I have a confident shot. So if I have 50 yards, how confident am I that I can get up and down from here, from within 50 yards? My short game recently has been pretty abysmal, so let's see what I can do. There we go. Left yourself like 8 feet. So it's pretty good. But you should have confidence in hitting every type of shot around the green and within 100 yards. I'm not saying you always need to think about landing it on the green, even though ideally you should at least be able to land it on or near the green. But even a shot like this, I used to master this shot with a little bump and run, and that's what really helped me go from 100 to the low 90s. Because I would often leave myself into short positions like this in front of the green. I have about 20 yards to the flag. I would take a pitching wedge, or I'd take my 50 degree, and I would just bump and run it. I haven't done it in a long time, but let's see if I can hit a nice little bump and run. It's a little quick on the greens, but still, you left yourself with a putt, maybe like 8 feet. These around the green shots is something that you really need to focus on, because more often than not, we are going to leave ourselves in positions where we either have a chip, a bump and run chip, maybe like 20, 30 yards off the green, or we have a long putt. Now, of course, I'll talk a little bit more about putting later, but we ideally want to leave ourselves into positions where we don't have the risk of 3-putting. So a long putt like this, I can easily 3-putt if I don't have my distance controlled down, which I'll talk a little bit more later. So I bombed that. Maybe I did it. I bombed that, and now I left myself with a tough 3rd putt. So now I'm easily at a risk for 3-putting. These are all kind of the same distance. So let's see how many of these like 10-foot putts do we actually hold out. Statistically, you're not gonna make many of these putts because they're not easy putts. They're not give-me's. They play a lot of break depending on the speed, and there's enough chance for the break to really affect the ball that you can get into trouble. There's one down. Downhill putts are also things that you really need to worry about, because a lot of people will end up in a downhill putt and bomb it past. So this also comes into course management. Once you get a little bit better, landing it on the low side or the high side of the pin. And of course, it needs to know the course to be able to do that. Oh, bye-bye. That's a good example of, well, now I'm 3-putting, if not 4-putting, because I'm above the pin. It broke, it played the brake, and it flew way past the hole, all from a light tap. If I left myself on the short side of the pin, right? So instead of playing, say, 50 yards, I played 45 yards, 46 yards, right? Now I'm leaving myself with a putt uphill. I don't have to deal with a downhill putt and potentially zooming past. It's much harder, at least for me, to slow down my putt than it is to speed up my putt going downhill. So I'd rather hit uphill because, well, just for a lot of reasons. But hitting downhill, you have to play the brake. Obviously, you have to play the brake, but the speed differs a lot. And these greens are very quick, so there's a lot more brake, and I have to play both of it very well. And I have to tap it shorter to not leave myself with another 8-foot putt after the hole. So let's see if I learn from my mistake. Nope. See, now we left ourselves in positions where you have a tough 3rd putt. And now I know you're thinking, hey, this guy sucks. But the reality is most people are gonna leave themselves in those positions. So now we have an uphill putt. Let's see if we can do any better with an uphill putt. Look at that, easy putt uphill. Versus downhill, I left myself 10 feet past the hole. On that one I just missed. But you get the point. 2 out of 3 uphill putts I made, 0 putts I made downhill. Now, par 3 course management can be very tricky depending on the par 3. Nowadays, depending on the tees you're playing from, you're getting long par 3s. I moved up so I can, reference this a little bit more to like the average par 3 length for average golfers. But if I was playing my tees in the back, it's 217 yards into the wind. I mean, the course management there is like just hit it close and get lucky. But course management for most people should be thinking about, how do I land this in a good spot near the green? Ideally, we want to land it on the green. If you have a short par 3, aim for landing it on the green. I have 170 yards into the wind, right? So 170 yards for most people is not an easy number. It's usually a little bit of a longer iron. So let's talk about visualizing this whole course management, what you should be thinking about and what you should not be thinking about. Now the green, relatively small. There are 3 bunkers around the green. If there are bunkers, you should learn how to hit a bunker shot. You can aim for the bunkers because once you learn how to hit a bunker shot, it's a very easy out. However, if we can choose not to hit the bunkers, there's nothing in front of the green, so I'd rather hit it short than anywhere else, right? So if I hit it long, I'm done. So I don't want to think about choosing a club that could potentially go to the midpoint and past the green. I want to think about a club that could hit in the front and the midpoint, right? The midpoint at most. So if I have 170 to the front, 180 to the middle, and say 160 to kind of like the fringe in the front, I can choose my 8-iron, which will go around 165. And I know if I hit it really well, and if I compress it more, I'm probably landing it on the green. If I don't hit it well, I'm missing it short, which is fine, right? Because short, there's no problems in the way. Missing left is obviously out of bounds, and missing far right is pretty wide open, but then we have to hit over bunkers. So the area where we should be thinking about missing here is short. I don't want to think about missing. I don't want to visualize missing. I want to visualize landing it on the green, but I want to choose a club that is potentially going to either land it on the green ideally, or if the miss is going to happen, it's going to miss in an area where I'm not going to run into trouble. If I choose, say, my 6-iron, because my 6-iron goes 200 yards, it's into the wind, I'm thinking about all of that, and I hit it either flush or the dispersion gets bigger because I'm choosing a different club, well then I could either hit it left and I'm into a tough bunker shot, or I hit it right and I'm hitting over the bunkers, and I could easily then hit it into the bunker, right? If the rough is thick, I could easily, you know, sky it over. There's a lot of things that could go wrong. So you want to think about where is my missing area and which club could leave me into a spot where it's an ideal miss. I don't want to think about missing, but I want to know where is my ideal miss, and then I want to choose a club that is going to take all the other bad areas out of play. This is for the average golfer. Once you start breaking like 85, you need some pars. So you need to be a little bit more aggressive with your scoring. My thoughts though are still automatic in regards to, all right, well, where's the miss? And I don't need to think about it because it's a little bit more automatic. But if I have never broken 90 and I'm shooting over 100, I need to think about my miss because that miss is going to come in more often. Now let's hit this shot. I thinned it a little bit, but look at that. We're short right in the front, and we have hopefully a nice easy chip onto the green. But that's where I hit a bad shot, but I chose a club that is not gonna lead me into a bad area, right? So if I chose one more club, I'm in that bunker. If I chose 2 more clubs, I'm probably over the green. Like I said before, distance off the tee is not gonna matter too much because you are going to need yourself a strong short game. So once your short game is confident and you're in a good place, work on distance all you want, all right? Distance and accuracy. However, I had a good miss, right? Like I said, this bunker is not really in my mind because I don't want to think about flubbing it. And if I worked on my short game, I should not be flubbing these kind of shots. If I don't work on my short game, well, you see it all the time. Let me drop a ball and show you an example. See it all the time. I saw it all weekend. People would take a shot like this and they go, and that's a waste of the shot. You don't want to do that because it's not necessary, right? All you need to do, you can chip in your backyard, go to the driving range for a few minutes, learn how to make good contact, low point contact with the ball, and just know how to get it on the green. From the green, we'll figure out putting, ideally 2 putting. So even if I'm playing for a bogey here, that's the mentality that I want to make. I don't need to think about making pars. I need to think about how do I not get a double bogey. Spoke about that in another video, but my course management falls into how do I not get double bogeys, how do I not get penalties, not how do I get birdies and pars. You can let those happen. If I hit a chip shot to 2 feet, great, we're happy about that. But if I don't, well, at least I should know I can 2-putt from there. Oh, ran a little bit, but now we get 2-putt from there. Ideally, you want to play your shot shape. You don't want to think about shot shaping, right? So I have a huge dog leg left. I don't want to think about getting aggressive and hitting it over those trees if I know hitting a draw is hard, especially if all to the left is out of bounds. why would I introduce that into my hole? Why would I introduce that for no reason? All I want to think about, hey, there's a big old fairway. I can miss it right, but there's a big old fairway. If I play a fade, if I play a slice, I can aim it to the right of that tree. I'm not going to play it off of the out of bounds. I'm going to play it a little bit more to the middle of the fairway. I'm going to let it fade. If I go into the rough, that's fine. That's the reality that I have to play with my fade. I'm not going to try to fight the fade. If I hit it out of bounds, it's very easy mentally to spiral out into, oh, I suck, my round sucks, my round is not going well. But once you start breaking 80, I'm only allowed like 6 or 7 mistakes per round. So I had to play pretty much like perfectly. And if I don't do that, well then I can spiral in my own mind of, all right, well I'm not breaking 80, I don't care anymore. And that's not fun. So I played the fade, I'm right in the middle of the fairway, and everyone's happy. Let's talk about 2 things here. The reason why I harp on avoiding penalties is because that's probably where most people are making their bad scores. Penalties and wasted flubbed shots. If I am flubbing a shot, like I did back there with the bunker, 10 yards in front of me, well, that's a wasted shot. If I hit this and I don't land it on the green, that's not a wasted shot. We don't need to think about that. Reality is we're not gonna get that many greening regulations. I spoke about that in another video. But you just need to avoid penalties and really wasted shots. And hitting it into the fairway, you are going to have opportunities to not have any wasted shots. Versus I know people on Reddit and the internet say statistically hitting it into the rough closer to the hole is gonna leave you in a better position. In the fairway, I know it's a simple lie. There's no grass behind my ball, no grass in front of my ball, no sticks. It's very simple. Now let's talk about if you are in positions of clubs, in between clubs. I have 148 to the front. That's in between a pitching wedge and a 9-iron for me. My 9-iron is probably gonna go too far. My pitching wedge could reach it, but it potentially may go too short with not a solid strike. So what do? We need to choose where are the problem areas. Back to like hole 1, hole 2, where are the problem areas? Going long introduces the bunkers, and going short is pretty wide open. So what I would want to do is I would want to miss a short. So I can either swing the 9-iron lightly, or I can do a full pitching wedge. If the full pitching wedge gets there, great. If it's short, we're still in a good position. If I hit a hard 9-iron, then I could land it on the green, but I could potentially also hit it into a problem area. So I'm gonna do a soft 9-iron, ideally land it on the green, but ideally I'm gonna be aiming for the front where the missing area is good. Oh, I hit a tree. That's fine. But even so, now we are in the front and we're not in any bad position. Then let's talk about hitting out of the rough and why you want to avoid it as much as possible. Now I'm in the rough. Now, statistically, I'm better scoring position than I was back there. I'm 1 club closer, potentially 2 clubs closer, and I should have an easy shot. However, versus the fairway, it's uneven here. I have grass behind the ball, and the ground is pretty hard. So with the ground being hard, if I hit a little bit behind it, my club is going to thin the ball. It's not going to do that in the fairway, but it's going to do that here. The grass could potentially make this ball fly further than I want it to. So I don't know if I need a club down or if I hit the exact club that I need. There's a lot more unknowns hitting it in the rough for the average golfer. For pros, they have a caddy, they have years and years and years of knowledge. They know what to do. For us average people, we should not be thinking about all those variables. Why? Because they're not important for us to score. Even things like the wind in our face, for the average golfer, it's probably not that important for us to score. We need to think about making good contact and not hitting it out of bounds. And as long as I do that, I will score better than I ever have until I'm breaking like 90 and low 80s. But now I need to decide, all right, which club am I gonna hit and which one can I really feel like I can hit it pretty solid, good contact, and not introduce these other potential live variables that you do need to learn. Now that I'm in the rough, how do I play it? Well, I gotta decide. Do I club up? Do I club down? Do I stay the same? I don't know. Let's see if this was the right choice or not. It was the right choice. but it had a lot less spin than a pitching wedge normally would have, and it ran to the back. Well, now everybody knows course management on a par 5 is for losers. All you need to do is walk up with a driver, look down the middle of the fairway, and hit it as hard as you can. And that's all the course management we average golfers need. I didn't see it land, but it's heading to the left. Hopefully it's not gone. Now the reality is, where's my tee? I bent my tee, it's plastic tee. The reality is you don't really want to do that. A lot of people do because they think big number, I need to hit it far. I'm not gonna hit 150 yards again to show that it is possible. But the reality is you still need to think about the same things that I've been speaking about. Now I'm gonna talk about how to actually hit a driver on a par 5. Obviously, you never want a full swing because that is for PGA players and idiots, as I always say. But I want to think about where is my miss. If I'm playing a draw and I have a tendency to hook it, my miss is left, it's out of bounds to the left, driver may not be the play. If I am stubborn and I need to hit a driver, well then the reality is I need to aim over those trees. And I may hit it into those trees if I hit it straight, hopefully not. So what I would do, if I'm playing a draw and I have a tendency to hook it, which I do, you put it on the other side of the tee box, and now I align to the right side of the fairway and hope that it draws. But I know if I hit it over there, at least it's not out of bounds. All we need to do is not hit it out of bounds. If I was hitting a fade and I hit a slice, I'd put it on the right side of the tee box. I would aim to the left. Well, ideally here, I wouldn't do that. If I was hitting a slice on this tee box and left is out of bounds, I would not want to go on that side of the tee box, aim for the out of bounds and hope that it fades back, because if I hit it straight, it's out of bounds. What I would do, I would line up to the left side of the tee box, aim down the left side, run to the left middle side, and if I slice it, I know that it's out of bounds. If I play it a good fade, it's still in the middle of the fairway. But I would not aim towards the out of bounds, right? Because if you hit a straight shot, it's going out of bounds, and now you're adding an unnecessary shot. So all you need to do is aim down the left side and let it fade back versus aiming down out of bounds and hoping it fades back into play. You never want to hit it out of play to hit it back into play. So there we go. I aimed for the right side. I let it draw back a little bit. It's right in the middle. But I swung smooth. I did not swing hard, and we are in play and we're going about it today. Now I crushed this shot. The reality is you don't need to think about hitting the ball far, you need to think about hitting the ball accurate. I spoke about that before, and I know it makes some people upset because everyone is always thinking about hitting it accurate, but the reality is, once you stand over the ball, you don't think about accuracy anymore. You think about distance. I don't know where that other ball went, and that's a position where people swing hard, they think they saw it land, their friends think they saw it land, you walk around, you can't find it, and you're like, well, I saw it land, so now I'm taking a gallery drop. Free drop. If I had other spectators here, they would have found the ball. But yeah, okay, you can do that. It's your score. We have all done it. The reality is, it may have bounced, got a bad bounce, and rolled out of bounds, and now you were thinking that it's just somewhere below your feet that you can't find. Whereas this, it's in the middle of the fairway. I don't need to think about it. So you need to think about what is the club that I know I can hit into the fairway the farthest possible. When it starts getting into, I think I can hit this club into the fairway, that's where you need to make the choice. Should I hit this club and is it gonna go out of bounds, or should I just be smart and hit a club down where I think I can hit it into the fairway? Now, let's hopefully get this on in 2 for a little eagle chance to end this video. Oh, stop fading. Oh man, great distance, but it faded a little too much with the wind. This is again, a good example of where I talk about choosing a club to miss. Now, of course, as soon as I think, oh, this is an eagle chance, well, I hit it into the bunker. However, if I was the average golfer, I'm looking to break 90 for the first time, or even breaking 100, I have all of this area that I could have missed it at. I could have chose one club down and missed it to this whole area. And chipping from here and chipping from the bunker could produce 2 different shots, obviously. Now let's see if I can hit this close as opposed to the bunker shot. Oh, that was terrible. Now 9 times out of 10, I'm not doing that. That was just a bad example. However, in the bunker, most people's worst nightmare. Now this is a tight lie. So I really got to get down. And I got to get it up over this hill. It's pretty high. But if you don't know how to hit a bunker shot, you could potentially lose 2 or 3 strokes in here and end up throwing a club. You need to learn how to hit a bunker shot. I know how to hit a bunker shot. Hopefully, I don't do what I just did. Ooh, oh. All right, well, okay, this was a bad example, but still the reality is, normally, chipping out of just a nice little fairway, right? I would leave myself with an easy birdie chance. And with the bunker, produce a little bit more variables where I don't have an easy birdie chance and I'd probably have a par chance. However, it was backwards this time, and now I have a tap-in birdie from the bunker and a potential par, if not bogey chance, from the rough. So now let's get this little bird. I usually would use a line. You should always use a line. Look at that. I tapped that out of the rough and I still got like a 5-footer. Thankfully, I'm good. Anyway, let's wrap up. Now, hopefully you learned something in this video. Maybe you didn't. But if you are shooting, if you're breaking 90, looking for more course management on that, stick around for a future video where I speak about course management from my point of view, trying to break 80. Hopefully you learned something. Stick around for more videos. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about mental health side of things, mine because that's my job. And I'll see you next time. Let's see if we can get a hole-in-one on camera real quick. Maybe? No. It was a good strike. I mean, that was a really good strike into the wind, but it's not a hole-in-one. And that's what I wanted. Anyway, if you're still watching, comment your favorite Halloween candy.